In this one, I want to talk about friends. I want to talk about those. Some people call them friends. Me personally, I call them comrades. They could be a lot of different things. But ultimately, it's really your network, the people you associate with, the people that are like within your closest circle. I'm going to take some time to talk about them for a few reasons. I want to talk about them, one, because in this day and age, 2023, what it means to have someone, a friend, is totally different than what it meant back in 1994 or back in 2003 or even back in 2010 for that matter. About how the meaning has been lost over time. I'm going to talk about why most men don't have friends. All right, so I'm going to try my best to sort of go through this in a sort of constructive fashion, and I'm also thinking about previous content I've made about this, and I'm making sure I don't double speak on certain points. But with that little struggle out of the way, what is the first thing that I've kind of come to mind, over time? Well, one thing about friends is this: most guys don't have them. Most guys don't have friends for a lot of reasons. It used to be guys didn't have friends because they weren't cool, or because they had some sort of like priority in their life. Like maybe they had like a family, and for that reason, they had kids, they didn't have time to invest in going out to parties and like trying to be friends and doing things that I guess they did growing up with a lot of the people they grew up with. So they end up losing their friends in adulthood. Things change. The major reason why a lot of guys don't have friends now is because of social media and what it's done in terms of determining the qualities of a strong man. Social media has really made it to where, guys have created this standard to where it's thought that they don't deserve women, or that they're no good for women because they don't have a lot of friends. So a lot of guys are doing that. A lot of guys aren't able to achieve this status because of the looming alpha male status that is so despised at this point. So there's that. But for the most part, a lot of dudes don't coexist or interact because they're just whack as fuck. A lot of dudes are fucking whack. The reason dudes are whack is because the way society throws you off the left as soon as you start to fall off as a man. Society is not going to critique you. Society is not going to tell you, what you're doing is whack. Society's not going to tell a dude he's dirty. Society's not going to tell a dude, he looks like shit. Society's not going to tell a dude he's a bitch. And so all of these things, without society being able to do it, who the fuck is going to do it? A lot of times what happens with guys in society is they just become hardcore losers, to the point where they become undistinguishable from to the point where they don't even resemble like normal human beings. I walk past a lot of guys throughout the day. These motherfuckers are some straight up wackos, and they don't have no type of mental conditions or medications. This is just a byproduct of just men, and this is the reason why a lot of dudes don't really be having friends. And truly speaking, these are true beta males. The dudes that run around mad wacky and, tripping over shit, don't make no type of sense. You try to talk to them, they be all emotional and shit. These are real life beta males. This is another reason why a lot of guys don't be having friends for the most part. They're kind of like lost. And that brings me to my next point, because the one thing about friends, or whatever the fuck you want to call them, I don't like calling them friends, because calling them friends, it puts them in the context of a childish perspective. It just means that, you just trying to, you got some person that you talk to about shit or something, and, you just got a sweet relationship. Like, that's not what it is. As a man, that's what it is for kids. That's not what it is for adults. That's another thing that brings me to this, because society is going to sit there and try to main you and all this other shit like that just because you don't sit around a whole bunch of dudes fucking snapping and popping and shit. Like I said, a lot of these dudes are whack as fuck. A lot of these dudes are some straight up bozos. Motherfucker will do some bogus shit over his emotions. You can't associate with people like this. Alright, now I'm not gonna sit here and just paint this picture of a whole bunch of whack ass dudes, but I'm gonna continue on. And that brings me to my next point. The people you align yourself with, you know, what are you doing it for? And a lot of guys, you know, they can't really determine a purpose in that, and the reason being is because they don't have a purpose in that. Because they don't have a purpose in that, they don't actually ever try. So they don't actually gain an understanding or experience in the process. A lot of this also has to do with the simple fact of whack ass dudes, like I said, they fall through the cracks, and for the most part, whack ass dudes are the majority. So when it comes to this type of information, you're not going to hear it. Why? Because you're not around men. You're around whack ass dudes with fucking mental problems that go on the fucking internet and just, you know, hear about some shit. So then you be thinking they be knowing what the fuck they talking about, and the whole time they don't be knowing shit. And this is what I mean about society, you know, deeming men, you know, giving them like this sort of alpha status because they have friends and shit like that. Now all of a sudden you can't even talk to a dude anymore with women involved because these motherfuckers are scared you're going to achieve that status. So these motherfuckers are sitting here, you know, all bitch made and shit like that. And this is just a byproduct of just whack ass dudes. Forget everything else. This is just whack ass dudes. This is how they behave. See, at one point, whack ass dudes used to be the motherfuckers trying to make friends all the time. And truly speaking, they should be the ones doing that because they're whack as fuck. But a lot of shit is out of order. And so I continue with the point. You know, I can sit here and tell people that your friends are only people that are in your life when you're able to move forward, and a motherfucker will sit here and argue with me over that shit. A motherfucker will sit here and challenge me and say some shit like, oh, well, I have plenty of friends in my life that I've met throughout plenty of points in my life, and I'm not always moving forward, and those are my friends. They're not. You know, the people that you align yourself with, your friends in your life, you know that they're your friends. Why? Because they multiply your energy. You need to be around people that give you the right energy. My thing is that when I'm around, I want to make sure that I'm able to actually talk about what I need to talk about. That the vibe is right. That the energy is productive. That the energy is being multiplied, that there's synergy there, there's passion, there's excitement. Most men are so simple-minded, you know, motherfucker will lose his whole life behind some ass and some breast. Same thing goes when it comes to choosing guy friends. They'll sit there and become a whole bitch for a dude that, you know, they'll just become a whole bitch for one man and be a whole bitch around another. Like, what the fuck is that? Like I told you once again, these are these beta men. These be the same motherfuckers running around sneak dissing on motherfuckers all the time. It's because motherfuckers don't fuck with them. They be sneak dissing on men that don't even give two fucks about them, don't know their fucking name. They be sitting there looking at these dudes, admiring their fucking beauty and shit. These motherfuckers over here don't be giving two shits about these niggas. Why is that? Because you gotta recognize the energy is whack. You coming around this motherfucker all into some type of shit. You don't even want to exchange words with these motherfuckers. You don't have any energy to say anything to them. Why? Because they're not someone you're supposed to align yourself up with. They're not someone you're supposed to be making friends with. society will gas it up, make it seem like if you're like a charismatic people person, that's supposed to say something about your masculinity or something like that. You know how many people that have mad friends was running around with fucking face masks on, scared to death, talking about you need to be vaccinated, going insane and shit like that just a few years ago? Having friends ain't have no type of effect on motherfuckers' personalities, psyches, and the way they be managing situations and their friends and their life. And that's the difference between being a boy and being a man. So you gotta go about this thing like a man. Like I said, a lot of this information is lost. So the next thing that comes naturally is like, well, how do you align yourself up with other people, right, and have it work? Well, for one, you gotta really align yourself with people that share the same perspective. Like I said, people sit there and argue with me all the time about how they have friends in all these different ways, and this does this and this does that. The one thing that I think is best to look at with this is like, what does it take for someone to consider someone to be their friend? And you'll realize that in those situations where people was talking about, this person is this, even though this doesn't work out this way, or they'll challenge the statement of you only make friends when you're able to move forward in your life, they'll realize that those people have no skin in the game. So you need people that multiply your energy. Without me really elaborating too much on that, that's ultimately what you seek for when it comes to putting together I'm gonna call them crew. I don't even forget friends. Putting together your crew, your comrades. They need to be people that when you're around them, your vibes, they rise. Not just people so you could be like, oh, I'm the man. One thing that you see a lot, especially like in these shelters, is dudes will click up and they'll just be a whole bunch of free agents. They'll put together like a free agent clique. Now, if you're a groupie and you need friends and shit like that, to be emotionally stable, then that's one thing. But to say that these people are friends, it's like, maybe you could say that. But you have to look at it as to who you align yourself with. Who are the people that are going to be more or less in your circle? Who are the people that are in your circle? This is how you determine people you align yourself with. This is why I can simply say that your friends are people that are going to be with you when you're able to move forward in life. It's the type of energy that when you have it, it's a lot of stuff you can't do, because all of your energy is multiplied. Now, I've been around a couple of artists' entourage, and I didn't always get that same experience. One of these, I was around this one entourage, it was kind of cool. And then I was around this other artist entourage, and it was like, I felt like, I was reunited with like, my brothers from like, across the galaxy. But that is the same energy that you look for with the people you align yourself with. You don't align. See, that's the mistake that a lot of these dudes are making now. They just align themselves with anything. They're just clicking up with anybody just so they could be like, look, this is what we got now. And you could do that in life. The only problem with doing that is it's going to hold you back. It's going to hold back your development. It's going to hold back your growth. It's going to make you focus on a lot of things you don't really have any interest in. When you're around like-minded people, your passion, like your purpose in life is more prevalent. It's more visible. Primarily because that's really where all the energy is going. And that's the reason why it's so crazy for you. That's the reason why the vibe is the way it is when you're around your people. because everyone's thinking similarly, and that's the reason why you coexist the way you do. You get synergy from that, and that's really more or less what you're constructing. You're not constructing a team of dependence. This is one thing that I see all the time. These dudes will be like, slumlords of like other men and shit. They'll just have a whole bunch of bitch ass niggas around them and shit all the time. Or a whole bunch of bitch ass niggas will congregate and, do a whole bunch of bitch ass shit. I don't know what the fuck that is. Whose entourage is that? And this is one thing that I really came to terms with in the past. It was an underlying lesson of some of my past experiences. Because there are sometimes in life, you will find yourself in situations where you're like, okay, well, maybe if I make a friend here, maybe if I make a friend there, things could be a little bit better or something like that. This is once again what I mean about this whole friendship and that shit being for kids. The only reason people think like that is because the experience that you learned growing up with that friendship is not prevalent in your mind. So you just like a skipping CD, a skipping disc. You just keep playing the same point over and over and over. You keep trying to apply a childish resolution. This is the reason why you align yourself with comrades. And it's deeper than just having a perspective. It's also understanding the science of it. What is the science of it? Make the wrong decision, it has its opposite effect. Now you're feeling drained. Now you can't think. You go out, you be on all these parties. These parties ain't where you need to be. These parties ain't bringing nothing out of you. They take you down. You spend $500 on the weekend trying to be relevant. You aging at 20 miles an hour. This is a byproduct, but there's more to the science. Now, when dealing with women, when they're not for you, you don't have fluidity around them. You can't, you can't move around. Your words ain't really coming out well. When it comes time to undress them, your hands is sweating, you shaking, you passing gas, all types of shit like this. So why is this happening? You don't have chemistry, but what else is going on? What's happening is what's going on in your mind is really impacting the way things are transpiring in reality. You don't feel comfortable around them, therefore they don't feel comfortable around you. And vice versa. But beyond that, what someone thinks of you dictates the way they behave around you, which has an impact on your behavior. So what's going on is whack. And when you align yourself with someone, when you align yourself with a woman, the byproduct of the relationship, like the actual relationship itself, is a combination of the two. If shit is whack and fucking bad, guess what? That's the result of your genetics mixed with theirs. A child, the behavior of a child, the looks of a child, all of that stuff is a result of the two people involved. These women is sitting over here looking at this little list about all these things, this little checklist, and they're sitting there having kids with these fucking losers. These weak ass fucking losers. And then so now they end up with this byproduct. They have this child. This child is 2 years old and they hate their child. They hate their child because of how much the child resembles its mother or its father. And this is the same thing when it comes to the people that you align with. the byproduct of your relationship is going to literally be a cross between you and them. If they're into other things that have nothing to do with what you're into, they're not even going to understand what it is you're even talking about. You know, it takes chemistry in order to make things work, but it also takes chemistry in order to make things come out right. A lot of people have children that are slow. They can't do any math. It's not because both of the parents were dumb. It's because of the combination of the two mindsets. They conflict. They cause problems. This is what happens when you be making these half-ass friends out here. These friends that have other interests, like doing different types of drugs. You sitting here lining yourself up with people that's into different things than you. What do you think the byproduct of that relationship is going to be? Even if you were to get down with the get down, you're still not going to ever really fit in. And so this is really what you got to realize when it comes to the way you align yourself and the way you move. And I guess you could call them, like, you know, your friends. This is why in real life they're comrades. You got to be around people that multiply your energy. Not people that are going to have you in the back of your head thinking to yourself, look at this idiot. People have you in the back of your head thinking to yourself, I'm going to have to lock that door. People in your head thinking to yourself, I can't wait to get the fuck up out of this shit. You know, a lot of these dudes is whack. And this is the reason why a lot of groups of men purely don't even really exist in a lot of ways. A lot of it has to do with the fact of just the perspective of an individual not really understanding anything about character. They'll do anything. They'll be anyone. And this is why a lot of things don't get done. This is also the reason why a lot of these losers is out here winning nowadays. And this is something you have to consider when you're aligning yourself with other people. This is what you have to understand. And see, when you understand things like that, and then you be around these people, and you be feeling drained and exhausted, then you understand the byproduct of the relationship. And you understand that it's not this sort of, oh, this little innocent, this could be a my friend type shit. There's no difference between a suspect and a fake ass friend. You sitting here calling up your fake ass friend, you sitting there calling this suspect up trying to hang out. Talking about, yo, you know the game is this time. This motherfucker start acting funny like an hour before the show and shit like that. That's a suspect. That's a fake friend. You call up your compadre or some shit like that, this motherfucker already know what's going on. Why? Because you share the same energy. Things like that. And these are not byproducts of time spent. This is one thing that kind of makes me sick. I remember watching some content on the internet and they talking about how do you make a friend. This motherfucker describing going out on a date and shit like that. Fuck that shit. That's how you end up with some gay friends. That's also how you end up with a whole bunch of suspects. This is inherent. This is derivative of a motherfucker's character, lifestyle, the way that motherfucker moves, the way that motherfucker thinks. Like people be, you know, it's funny because like, you know, people, you know, they be trying to figure out my moves and shit like that. They don't really understand what my association with jail really is. I'm 100% on 100. And all my friends are too. So when I go to jail, that's where everyone is at. So I can get my mind right. I can align myself. I can remember how real shit is. I can remember how serious shit is. When I be outside around these motherfucking flugazis and shit like that, do you think I'm thinking about anything real? Do you think I'm able to construct a fucking plan to make $1 million over the fucking weekend and shit like that? Do you think I'm able to fucking connect the fucking stars and fucking connect the dots? Do you think I'm able to run through these bitches like fucking water and shit like that when I'm around these fucking peons and bitches and fucking crustains? These bitch ass motherfuckers be all in your fucking face wanting to be seen and shit. Do you think I'm able to get anything done around these motherfuckers? That is the utility of actually being around your people, being around people you're supposed to be around. This is what you look for when you align yourself with other individuals. Why you think they trying to keep me out of boxing right now? They already know. You know, that's another place I can find, you know, my people at. But these are the sort of things that you want to really understand when you consider who you align yourself with. Your comrades. Friends are people that are sitting there crossing over, you know, going across the aisle, you know, doing that whole free agent shit. Being a whole gang of fucking eyeballs, don't nobody trust nobody. Motherfuckers will break down as soon as a little bit of pressure is applied. If you want that type of shit, a whole bunch of motherfuckers that'll scatter like roaches as soon as the fucking light gets turned on. If you want that type of shit, then you could do that little crust ball, you know, put on a fake ass image like you're supposed to be some sort of somebody because you got people to talk to and shit at night about what type of shoes you're gonna buy and shit like that. You could do that, or you could be around people that'll literally give you so much energy you'll be ready to change the world tomorrow. Or you could do that. And that's really what brings me to making this piece. Not just to express the importance of it, but to also explain the experience and really lay out some defining attributes so you can tell the difference. Because me understanding hatred really allows me to understand so much more, and this is one of those things. These pitiful bitch ass men. And the disruption that they've caused in real unity out here. Like, you could sit here and blame it on the women, but at the end of the day, if the dudes wasn't fucking weak, they would never even fall for it in the first place. Women shouldn't be able to take you down like that. And this is what you end up with when you deal with a whole bunch of these fake ass fugazis. As soon as one woman come around, they all lose their fucking mind. Motherfuckers be simps in arms. Unified simp ass niggas. Running around all emotional and bitch made doing sensitive shit all the fucking time. Those type of dudes you really gonna get lost with. You're gonna be, especially if you're real, you're gonna be spending all your time trying to shape them up all the fucking time. Tell them how to move, walk like this, talk like this, do all that. Yeah, you really gonna be a fucking alpha man. Grooming a fucking entourage of fucking bitch-made children. And these are things that, like, you know, that I'm learning that cross my mind. And things I just wanted to put out in the recording. And I kind of let this one go over a little bit longer than it needed to, but you know, I just wanted to get all my points out the best I could, you know, and just make this little piece on friends, your entourage, or your comrades, and what the difference is between them and just random ass dudes clicking up. That's my time.